bit of a strange story now, but one I add because it sits heavy on me, mainly due to the fact that this is about a journalist and the police trying to force him to give up information which is protected under law as a journalist. 74-year-old Chris Mullins is fighting an application from West Midlands Police for a production order which would require him to provide notes of interviews carried out as part of his investigation into the IRA terrorist attacks at two pubs in 1974, which killed 21 people and injured more than 200 others. West Midlands Police has now brought proceedings to compel Mullin to confirm the identity of a source who spoke to him about the Birmingham bombings, after their attempt of asking the Crown Prosecution Service whether Mullin could be charged under the Terrorism Act in relation to his notes. West Midlands Police claim a man referred to in court as AB.
Yo! Hi everybody, this is AB.
No, not that one. Made a full confession to murder in an interview in the 1980s. James Lewis QC, acting for West Midlands Police, said the material sought was a very important piece of evidence in relation to a very serious crime, the most serious of crimes, which produces a prima facie case of murder on 21 counts. Is the chilling effect on people giving information to journalists really going to be affected by the fact that the court has ordered the disclosure of a murderer's confession, he asked. Yes, I believe it would, just like solicitors have confidentiality with their clients. But attacking journalists in this manner will prevent people going to them with stories about events that are in the public's interests, for fear that their information will be passed to police or ordered to be handed over to police, therefore hindering and gathering the dissemination of information. Mullins, who is a member of the National Union of Journalists, argues the police's application could set a precedent which could be used to undermine the freedom of journalists to investigate alleged miscarriages of justice. Mullins barrister Gavin Miller QC told the court, "This is a unique and deeply concerning case, especially to anyone who cares about public interest, investigative journalism in this country." He added that the police's contention that the material was important to its investigation was just speculation. Now, this is an ongoing trial which I'm going to follow myself, but the reason I've added it in the report is because of what I currently face myself with the Metropolitan Police over my arrest in London at the BBC. Now, there's nothing in legislation that I know of that says a journalist is only deemed a journalist if they are part of a union or work for mainstream media, and my appearance in London on the day of the BBC statute, shall we say, being amended, I was there in an independent journalistic capacity. All I had on me was my journalist's equipment, cameras, memory cards, body cam, microphones, and an ID badge identifying me as a photographer. Under normal circumstances, under Section 9 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, journalistic material, which includes television programmes and unbroadcast rushes, is given what's called special protection from seizure by the police. If the police want to seize such material, they must apply to a Crown Court judge. Normally, the holders of the material, that is the broadcaster or the programme makers, are entitled to make representations to the judge and argue against disclosure if they wish to. But before a judge will order material to be handed over to the police, they must be satisfied that there are reasonable grounds for believing that a serious criminal offence has been committed, that the evidence would be admissible at trial and would be of substantial value, and that disclosure would be in the public's interest. However, in practice, the courts do often order broadcasters and journalists to disclose such material whenever the police make an application, but it's always good practice to pull up Section 9 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, which gives your work special protection from seizure by the police when you can. Mr. Mullins' situation falls under that category, as in fact does mine. However, the Metropolitan Police have seized without warrant my equipment, including my memory cards, even though I'm not a registered journalist with a company. It makes no difference. And this will be evidenced once I get their body cam footage, as I discuss this with the arresting officer after my own cameras were turned off, about how I was there in a journalistic capacity. He questioned me about my ID card, asking me, is it a legitimate ID card? To which I respond, no journalist ID is a legitimate ID card because it is issued by a union or from who they work for, not from a central governing body. Therefore, anybody can have an ID card that says they're a journalist. So I think now you can see why this particular report has been added, as this is clearly an example of police trying to abuse their powers on Mr. Mullins and actually having abused their powers on myself. As for my own situation, I will of course update you more at the end of March, beginning of April, after I've attended to answer my bail. Big thank you to channel supporters, especially these guys. Your support is truly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.